We first show our face and then share the PPT.
Yes, we are live.
Okay. So I think we are live.
We're
Hello,
live.
everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
hi,
Good
good evening,
evening.
everybody.
So let's first give a brief introduction to us. We are from Career Launcher. My name is Gejo. We have GP, the veteran,
Hello.
with us. Sazeal and GP, Gautam Bawa, is with us. And from morning onwards, at least Gautam and Sazeal has been on it. I think they were the slot one, na? Tum lo know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we woke up at 5 o'clock and we left at 6. So yes,
And
that's
then
how
you will
it's.
sleep tomorrow.
so, so
No, tomorrow I have to get up early for BGT.
Hopefully,
हाँ तो
yeah.
ठीक है ना 12:05 पे you can sleep and get up at what time is BG? What time does it start?
Yeah, luckily Perth hai, so we can get
हाँ,
up by 7:45.
what time है? So you'll get 8 hours of sleep, Gautam.
Yeah, we get a 7.5
so
hours.
So me and GP had taken the slot 2, and Sasil and GB had taken slot 1. We don't have any slot 3 representative here, but obviously we can share from what we have heard. So, sort of to start off with that, I don't know what your impression with respect to this particular paper was, but collectively what we believe that the CAT 2024 was a well-designed test. When we talk about design, especially for DLR, so it was a test wherein usually what used to happen is that almost everyone end up solving only 2 sets, and very rarely that people can go to 3 and maybe even 4. And so there was a huge sort of cluster in terms of even in 1 question, 3 question, you had a strong gradation in terms of the percentile distribution. This time around, I'm sure that there will be some of you who could get to the 5 sets. There were people who would have done 4 sets. There were people who have done 3 sets. There are people who have done 2 sets. There are people who have done 1 set. So here, I think that is a much better spread in terms of DLR. That's one. If I look at VRC across the 3 slots, at least they did not pain you with respect to passages that nobody understands. So we did not. So all the passages were kind of easy to read. The challenge, of course, were created by the options and how the questions were set. So some and the QA, even though probably slot number 2 was slightly more difficult than other set, but overall I think that if someone had there were questions to be solved across all the areas, it was not very difficult. So what this means is that this would have this particular test that we what we believe is probably would have created a much better normally if it the better curve. Eventually that's what the paper is. So what our take is that if someone was who was prepared for the CAT, they would have felt that the lot many stuff they could take out from these particular papers. If you are prepared for VRC, if you're prepared for DLR, if you're prepared for QA.
Also,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah,
also the attitude that a student would have had to pull the score, So not if you decided that मैं 2 ही set करूँगा DILR के, or I'll do 3 RCs and I'll not do VA or give less time to VA, that would probably have not gone right. So the idea was the person who's gone with the mindset के as let's pull as many questions as you can.
correct.
I think that would have worked for you,
Yeah.
in the students.
So this like absolutely, Sasil. I think that here is when something that we always been saying, that don't assume anything. You want to solve as many questions as you can. Make decisions based on what you see on the particular paper. If somebody would have gone with that sort of open mind, and there was something that the test offered you. So this was in that sense very well designed as a sort of test. I don't know what the response students are. I'm not at least accessing the YouTube chat. So
There's only one comment so far that we are seeking.
Let's see, drag down to scores.
I think we can cater to that when we discuss VRC, but overall the key thing I think is CAT surprised lots of students this year who were expecting probably a more difficult DILR or the last year kind of DILR in Quant. Quant was a shade more difficult, I felt, but DILR was definitely easier. And for the change, after a few years, we see smiling faces after the paper. Whether they get a good score or not, at least they did not feel कि यार paper में कुछ हो नहीं पाया. At least they came out after doing some attempts in the paper. That was definitely a big positive.
Absolutely. And yeah, a couple of things which I think students of slot 1 at least would have gotten as a surprise. Slot 2, slot 3, it wouldn't have happened, was the sample paper had 22 questions in DILR. It turned out to be 22 questions, 2 into 5, 3 into 4. So that was interesting. Slot 2, slot 3 students obviously knew that already going in. And in verbal, we didn't find any parajumbles. After I don't know how many years, but there were no parajumbles. There was sentence placement, which was not there in the sample paper. So, yeah, I'm Calcutta staying true to previous IIMs when with respect to the sample paper. That what you see there might not necessarily actually happen in the actual exam. It's more about just understanding the UI. So, yeah, I think slot 1 people. But as GP pointed out, I think the interesting part is this was a surprise and not a shock. Generally, slot 1 gets a shock. This time, slot 1 people got a surprise. No parajumbles, no guessing, no nothing, no thing where you're worried, arey, kaun sa first sentence hoga, kaun sa last. Easy enough questions. I think the sentence placement was a nice relief as compared to that.
And in fact, जो अक्षय कुमार की मूवी देखते हैं ना, उसका डायलॉग है ना फेमस, जो मैं बोलता हूँ वो करता हूँ और जो नहीं बोलता हूँ पक्का करता हूँ. वही किया है.
I think सलमान खान की है ना.
सलमान खान का है क्या?
Wanted
जिसका भी है. But that's exactly what this paper was. 22 बोला, 22 दिया, और जो नहीं देना था वो भी नहीं दिया. वो भी हटा दिया, सेंटेंस प्लेसमेंट डाल दिया, सब कुछ कह दिया है.
So they increased the number of TETA questions. That was interesting. Overall TETA questions.
Yeah, I think this is one thing we've not spoken about enough. But 10 out of 22 questions in DILR as TETA, almost 50% of the paper as TETA is a huge number. Especially when you get into sets, like in slot 1, there was a particular set. Where the answer had to be either 2 or 3, and there were 3 questions where the answer will be either 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Now all 3 questions were TETA. If you don't know anything, just put in 3.
Yes.
Or 2.
But मुझे कई बार लगता है ये मेरे खुंदक निकाल रहे हैं, because I am the one who's been popularizing for the last 30 odd years.
But you don't
that
get
you
it.
should use choices. So Calcutta IIM, they have decided कि ये GP की लेते हैं थोड़ी सी. But उसके बावजूद, at least in my paper in DILR, I was able to solve one complete set based on the choices only. जो 2 सवाल थे choice वाले उसको दिया. Another set you could do it with the help of choices. And quant में there were plenty questions. I think 6-7 questions which were doable by choices. Yeah.
So I think that's
right.
a good
So with that,
let
me share the deck here quickly. Just a sec. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. You will have to put it on the presentation mode.
So there are also a couple of questions, as that happens. Aditya stating, sir, slot 2 DILR seemed tough. The fact that there were only 2 DI sets and one of them being fused with LR, I found the set selection slightly tougher.
Since I have taken the paper, Aditya, if you look at the paper as such, slot 2, well, we can probably get into detail later. The gated community, 2 out of the 4 questions were sitters. There's no way you could have got them wrong. Similarly, if you look at the DI set of that graph was ratios only. While the graph looked difficult or strange, the fact is if you just tabulated the data, you could do all 4 questions in less than 5 minutes. Third thing is, if you look at that grade wala data set, that was a data set again. Again 2 out of 4 were very. There are 2 sets of 4 questions each. Out of it, 2 questions each are very, very easy. 1 set of 4 is very easy. Now you look at those two sets of data which have 5 questions. One of them, which you are saying, is DI fused with LR. That was the XYZ 3 coaches who are training in people for this thing, gymnastics. That was a set where if you looked at the questions carefully, there are 2 questions with choices. Had you looked at those 2 questions, you would have solved the set in less than 10 minutes. Okay, so this was a paper where if you had to pick up the right question, give the right question. If you're insistent, no, I have to do all 4 questions of a set or all 5 questions of a set, definitely, then yes, you would struggle and you would think, yes, for mehnat zyada laga hai. But so to me, it was only a question of leaving a few questions and not being worried about completing the set. Again, I'll go back to movies. हार के जीतने वाले कोई बाजीगर कहते हैं ना, वो यहाँ पे ये बहुत क्लियरली चलता था.
GP, funny that you say this because for the past couple of months, you and every one of us has been saying this कि हर set को पूरा solve करने की कोशिश करना is not necessary. You can take out some questions. I think those who heard this or followed this might have benefited from it.
And CAT I've always maintained is more decision making paper than a maths and English or reasoning paper. You have to keep deciding which questions to attempt and which ones to leave. If you are judicious in your decision making, you will always do well in the paper because you will not waste time in trying to attempt questions which are difficult or time consuming.
Right. Okay. So let's start with what we have planned for today. So we'll be discussing the overall structure of CAT 2024 and comparing it with the other years 23, 22, and 21 specifically, right? And we'll be discussing the expected percentile section wise and slot wise. So that's what we are planning to do here. So yeah, let's start with this. Let's start with what the CAT 24 was first, and then go over to the percentiles next. So the surprise is known. DILR was 22 questions this year. TETA questions were 10. So that is one of the things that GB already talked about, right? And VARC was only 2 TETA questions. That was also another nice surprise maybe. So yeah, that is how it was. Overall levels were not, so none of the sections was very difficult, except probably for the quant section in the second slot. So thoda sa difficult tha as compared to 1 and 3. But mota all of this was easy to moderate or moderate to difficult. So that is where it was in between. So yeah, so let's talk about the percentiles now.
Yeah.
GP?
Yeah. So if you look at the percentiles also or the marks required, just look at the verbal section across the 3 slots. Okay, and you can also compare it vis-a-vis 23 and 21. One thing which was very clear as far as the verbal section is concerned across the 3 slots, the passages were definitely easier to read as compared to last time. But more importantly, when you go to the questions, last couple of years we have had questions which had double negatives, triple negatives. Those kind of questions were no triple negative questions. There were 2 or 3 questions which are double negatives, but the overall number of double triple negatives came down. No triple negatives made it also easier. It appears that almost all the passages across the 3 slots were more like general purpose reading. Journals and research papers were for a change absent in the paper, and which is what probably would have made the paper easier. And which is why we think that the section 1 cutoff or section 199 percentile is going to be a shade higher than last year, maybe 1 to 1.5 questions higher than last year. As we get more data, we'll be able to give a concrete thing. But at this point of time, something like a 41, 42 seems to be a very good score for 99 percentile across the 3 slots. If you look at the 3 slots individually, 99 percentile in verbal would be something like 40 plus minus 41 marks. Plus minus 1 is what you can look at. Same and slot 2 would be 42 and slot number 3 would be something like 43. So just a 1 mark plus minus kind of a thing which is there. Comparing this with CAT 23 or CAT 21, CAT 23 last year the 99 percentile was at about 37 marks. So if you look at a mean figure of this year, which is 42, we are talking about 5 mark jump, which is 1.5 questions extra. But it is 1 mark one question less than CAT 21. Okay? And so which CAT 21 was 45 marks. So we'll say very, very close to CAT 21, but maybe a shade difficult. Okay?
So GP, if I kind of look at the 4 hours, at least I can talk about slot 2, and probably that was a similar story across. So if let's say somebody attempts all the 24 questions, right? In RC, the possible scores are what? If 4 questions, -4, 0, 4, 8, 12. So those are the possible score if I attempt all the questions, right? In RC, there were a couple of RCs where 8 to 12 was possible.
Yes.
And couple of RC, it's probably going to be 4-ish. Okay, so two correct, two wrong, right? So it's probably from the RC's point of view, let's say 8 plus another maybe about 28 marks from reading comprehension is if somebody who would, let's say, reasonably good, so 25, 28 marks from RC was possible, assuming that a couple of RC you able to knock off about 12 marks, 8 marks, and the other two RCs, let's say you got about 4 marks each. So that's about roughly about 20. And I believe that the VA, given the fact that you had 6 questions, which were sort of paragraph summary or the odds in this one,
Odd statement.
odds, or not paragraph summary and the sentence placement or paragraph completion questions. What I've seen the discussion across the three slot what probably in a paragraph summary, one question was painful, one was managed very easy, one was moderate, and that sort of was a similar story with respect to even the odd sentence. So sorry, the paragraph completion questions. The odd sentence, yeah, so it's quite possible to get about out of the 8 questions, 5 correct maybe, right? 3 wrong. So you can probably knock off about 12 marks, 14 marks out of it. So 28 plus about 12, that's straight 40, right? So that's where we believe that that 99 percentile is going to be. Somebody's attempted all the 24 questions, will probably get there, get there about 98. And then there are a lot of you end up attempting 3 RCs, or some of you would have done 2 RCs. And then and here we also believe that the 80th percentile, which will be the bare minimum cutoff, given the fact that the whenever you look at across your mocks, the highest score that you would have got in VRC is when your VA score is high. I think given the fact that compared to the last year when he had 4 questions of what sentence and paragraph uh, jumble, and that was not the case today, right? So only those two ambiguous questions were there of what sentence. It's quite possible that the VA would have pushed the score a little bit, which is why we believe that if you look at compare it to, let's say, something like a 2023 VRC, which were at about 18 marks at 80th percentile, we believe that it's probably going to go to about uh, 22, 21. It's about net 7 to 8 questions correct. Still very close to about what happened in 2021. So that's sort of the story with respect to VRC. Now you'll have to wait and see. I'm sure that a lot of you would have taken a lot of risk in terms of questions. You would have probably got confused between 2 options, and we'll have to kind of wait and see where you'll be. But if you're someone who has diligently prepared and have done a lot of mocks, I think that you very likely that you probably will do well in this particular test. Is my take.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so let's go to the DILR section. Gautam, can you pick up the DILR part for
Yeah,
the
sure.
slot?
If we have a look at it from, and since we're talking about 2021 as the base, I think if you look at 2021 versus this year, the point of difference predominantly comes up in about 3 to 4 attempts. There are on an average about 3 more attempts, as compared to the 2021 paper. However, as we pointed out, from an accuracy perspective, I don't think students expect their accuracy to be exactly what it was in 2021, because there were a lot many more TITA questions. So there seem to have been a few more guesses and a few more punts that students have taken. The interesting part vis-a-vis the last couple of years, however, is this is generally one section where students and the paper pattern used to be 4 sets of 5 questions each. Now 2 sets is something that students used to see. A very minuscule percentage used to come out and talk about, I ventured into the 3rd set and I solved a couple of questions or 3 questions there. And almost no student used to come out and state, I looked at all 4 sets. This year, however, the story I think is a little different. Almost every student, who's taken mocks seriously, has prepared for a decent amount of time, was scoring, at least 75, 80 percentile plus in DILR, has ventured into the 3rd set for sure. And there are many more who ventured into the 4th set. So if you have a look at those who are expecting, in the vicinity of 95, 98, 99 percentile, most of them have actually looked at 4 sets and attempted 3 complete, ventured into the 4th, attempted a couple of questions. There are also few, like, GP was pointing out when we were having a discussion, that in slot 2, probably students might have looked at all 5 sets, and in 2 or 3 of those sets just attempted a couple of questions. So that was also something, that students should have looked at very seriously. So that basically boils down to a major difference coming from the fact that there was no real set where you looked at it and turned around and stated, ye to nahi hoga. This is not something that I'll be able to crack in CAT, which is slightly different from what we've been seeing over the last few years, which was good as well as bad. Good in terms of everything felt doable, bad in terms of you might pick up the set and not have the capability of leaving it after a couple of questions, and that is where you could get stuck. If you have the capability of leaving sets after a couple of questions because the other questions seem difficult, this was an ideal paper to look at all five, venture into them, and probably attempt about 15 to 17 questions as compared to probably 10, 12 questions in the previous year.
Yeah. And so
which is why I think that we believe that so if you kind of look at the DLR percentage in 2023, it's 99%. It was about 27. That's just obviously the scale score. We believe that this time it's gonna get to the 30s, right? In 2021, if I remember, 2021 had 5 sets, no?
2021 had
2020 had 5 sets.
2021 at 4.
2021 and 4, yeah. So, so if I look at this case, I'll sort of not be surprised that the 99% will be definitely sort of more than 30 is what we believe. And I think the story was across the three slots, more or less the story is one and the very, very similar is sort of what, of course, we will have to wait and see more number of data. And once the response sheet comes out, this will be refined further. But where we are at this today, I think if you're able to, like GB said, I think the key thing here is a lot of 10 theta questions, no? Out of
50% almost.
10.
That's humongous.
So attempt would have been high for sure. So,
yeah.
So
exactly.
But at least the confidence level that one has with respect to theta is less and no. So that probably would have made a few mistakes here and there. So we probably about 30 plus should be a very good sort of score. And to clear the cutoff, we needed 2 sets, right? At least you'll have to venture into 2 sets, no? To at least clear the cutoff.
Yeah, for sure.
See, I hope students have marked answers to all theta questions. If you put some number in all theta questions, hopefully even if one becomes right, that's a 3 bonus marks for you. So if you have not done it, it was a miss. And those of you attending this session and looking at next year's paper, please remember theta is something you don't leave. There's no negative marking, so nothing to lose. Put any number and just move on. Okay. So let's move to quant then. And Sazeal, quant tum le lo.
Quant was also beautiful in the sense that this time I was able to make a lot of attempts. So मुझे तो बहुत मजा आया and मैं थोड़ा I was going अंधाधुंध also on that. So a good 10-11 attempts would make net correct would make a 99 percentile for sure. So there was a good spread of questions, specifically arithmetic algebra as expected was there. So I think 9-10 questions of algebra if I'm not wrong. 8 to 9 questions and 5 to 6 questions of 8 to 9 to 10 questions of arithmetic and 6 to 7 of algebra. I'm sorry, I'm sleepy since I've been awake since 5 o'clock. So that's how it was. There were 3 questions of geometry in my slot for and a couple of questions of numbers which were very easy too. So I think again it was a well balanced paper. You could do some double digit attempts for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much my take. 8 theta questions, and this was how it was. So I had fun solving the paper.
I think QA was one section where across the 3 slots there were mixed reactions. So I remember when I heard what GB and Ravi they had taken slot number 1. So I was on my way to take the test. They said that yeah, 15 plus the attempt hoga hi types. Okay. So I was expecting that to happen. When I started seeing some of the algebra questions, I said, nahi ho raha. Like, this is at least in slot number 2, I could look at few questions that jabardasti they're making me do a lot of hard work. So I think there would be sort of a normalization likely going to happen. Our feeling is that probably slot number 2 is a tad difficult than the other 2 slots is at this point in time what we have.
By about 2 questions odd. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 or
See,
2
the
questions.
issue in slot 2 quant was not that the questions were difficult, the questions were lengthy. It was kind of a two-layer. You pick up a last year's CAT question, you solve it, and then based on that solution, you have to do something else. So a question which normally you will do in 2.5 minutes, suddenly you found you had to do 3.5 to 4 minutes. And that was the issue. Yes, there were a couple of questions which are difficult and not worth it, but quite a few easy questions were there. And just to give an idea, slot 2, the number of easy questions was 8, and the number of extra questions that a good student would do is maybe another 4 to 5. So 12, 10, about 12 odd would be a very good attempt in slot 2. The equivalent number would for slot 3 and slot 1, if I remember correctly, is something like 14 odd. So that's the difference we are talking about. It is not that there's a world of a difference. No, there's a difference of a couple of questions, and hopefully the scaling will take care of that.
Yeah. In fact, one funny thing is that, which was not expected, that slot 2 had 2 questions which were from the previous year question paper, exact.
Yeah,
And even slot 3 had 1 question of that sort.
Eventually if you look at कितना पूछेंगे यार, मतलब कितना concept है CAT maths.
कहाँ से लाएंगे?
And also if somebody has taken all the, I would have probably said from 1990 onwards to solve all the CAT questions of there, and I'm sure that you will get good scores. If you actually look at the CAT per se, even let's say look at DLR, how many variation can one come up? Eventually it will boil, इधर ही घूमेगा ना.
So Gejo, I remember we've been in RT99, raised to 99 percentile that we conducted. GP and all of us have been screaming at the top of our lungs that students को बोल के कि 17 to 23 papers solve कर लो, PYQ solve कर लो, उसमें से जितना हो सके कर लो. I mean, those who have done that, it would surely have helped.
And जिन्होंने कर रखा था, their attempt in slot 2 would be at least 2 questions more. Because those 2 questions you could straight away solve, and in 1 question you could straight away just write the answer, not even worry about solving it.
And GP, that would have taken care of the difference of those 1 or 2 questions that has happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So which is why I would repeat, those of you who are going to, those of you who have taken CAT but have not done the past papers, please don't make that mistake with that. That papers, please make sure the last 6 years papers of quant you definitely attempt them, and do definitely do the DM and English of all the 15 years papers of that. And if you are a next year student, which means you're targeting CAT next year, the next November you plan to take CAT, remember these old CAT papers are essential for you. 17 to 24 will be essential, and as Gejo said, 91 to 2008 are the next leg you need to do. So it is not that it's the last 6 years only. In the CAT 91 to 2024, you do all of them. You can sequence them by doing the 17 to 24 first and 91 to 2008 later. But they all have to be done, not once, but a couple of times. And the important question within them should be revised on a regular basis. Okay.
Sorry, one other thing, at least this paper, the people who are prepared really well for CAT would not have felt betrayed. So they would have probably felt that. I think that's a sense. If you are really done well, I think this paper allowed you to get marks. I don't know what was your frame of mind, whether you made if you were cool enough, if you went with an open mind, this was a paper you could have cracked. But I'm sure that that would be the story with majority. From an overall perspective, I believe that the 90th percentile is likely going to be around the 90s, with slot number 2 maybe about 1 question down. So this would be that's where we are today, putting the 99 percentile. So once a response sheet comes out, obviously we'll revise based on the data that we get. But at least our belief is that 99% plus. So if you are able to cross this 100, 110 marks, then you get those calls from the top, with the very top colleges, right? So yeah.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's quickly, this is just another view of the way it is in terms of comparison of the scores of each of the slots with 23 and 21, right? Any comments, or do I move on?
I think we can move on.
All right. So now, what do we do? So, what do we do now? Uh, to start off, you should calculate your scores first. If you've not done so already, you can go on to CL website and you can search for the calculator and visit the calculator, calculate your score, and check what kind of a percentile you could get.
So
So that is one.
so this calculator is based on how many questions attempted and what is the likely accuracy. No, that's I think
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So this is sort of very rough calculator that we have at this point in time. So this allows us. I think that some of the data point that we have put here in this slide was based on this. So it's about asking simple question: how many do you attempt, and what do you believe will be a likely accuracy?
It
So
is an
that
estimate. Yeah.
estimate, very rough estimate, is where we are at today. Sorry, yeah.
Right. Once that happens, and once the response sheets come out, personal predictor will come into action also, and then IIM cutoffs will come out. So you, first of all, a lot of you should be ready that there might be calls coming in, right? So even if you are sad with the way CAT has gone, but vis-a-vis your expectations, you still could get calls. So first of all, start preparing for GDPI VAT, right? So don't miss out on that opportunity right now. Don't assume that you won't get a call. If you fill the right forms, you will. On the second front, you have other exams coming in. So you have SNAP, ZAT, and NMAT still going on. So ZAT forms are still on. If you've not filled them up, you should fill them up because you have some really good colleges there, right? XLRI being the top one. So you still have the season going on. Please remember, if you have taken CAT, you've not taken CAT because you came to take CAT. You've taken CAT because you wanted to go into a top B school, and that journey is still on, right? So I think it's very important for us to understand this. Hence, so if you think your performance has been good or beyond expectation, start preparing for the GDPI VAT and hence the PDP program, right? If you feel it's not been satisfactory, below expectation, first of all, you don't know that yet. Like Gejo was saying in the previous session that we conducted, right? But you can still start preparing for GDPI VAT and the non-CAT exams, both of that, right? The last thing that you see, give a try next year. Hold on to that. Don't take an action on that yet. It's too early for that. We can take that call in maybe February, January end, or February, or maybe March. So we have time before we can give up on CAT 24 or
So,
this academic year.
I think one of the things that all of you should understand, December is going to be a very weird month, right? So what is likely going to happen in December is that the response sheet will come out. You will have some emotion with regards to CAT, and there is always a lot of uncertainty and stuff around it, right? And whether I'm going to get a call, whether all this will happen, or maybe something did not happen well. So the immediate response for, if you're done well, if you're not, for some reason the CAT did not go well, what should not be happening is that you still have to remember there are still tests that you have to take, right? If you, for example, if you look at ZAT, you have XLRI, which is both campus, Jamshedpur campus, and then the NCR campus. The Jamshedpur campus, they have both HR program and they also have a normal MBA program, and they are at par with the top 4 colleges in this country, right? So and you have to prepare for the exam, ZAT ke liye. And you somehow you have to get the strength to prepare. So my sense is that you should start now only. Okay, at least start take one previous year's paper, create an action point, and that has to happen. And if, let's say, we get a call, and you will get a call in from January onwards, you will not get to know, and the interview is going to start. It's going to start end of Jan, first week of February. It is absolutely important that if you get a call, you bloody convert the call. It is absolutely, it's a horrible thing to put in so much of effort for a CAT and get a call and then not convert. And what was the point? And which is why it is very important. And I'm saying this, very important that as soon as the response sheet comes, you need to get a sense in terms of where you stand. And a career launcher will help you with that prediction. So we take, you can input upload your response
Conscious.
sheet as the response sheet come, and over the years I think we can say with all humility, whatever, I think that our prediction has been the very most accurate and accurate ones, and that prediction would give you a sense in terms of where you stand. And last year, I think the response sheet came out in the 28th of December, I believe, 20th, 20th.
Response sheet was out on 30th November.
Sorry,
26th was
20th
the
is November. Sorry, not
exam.
November.
Yeah.
Now it's like next week, and
Yeah.
response will come out. So you'll probably will get to know of where you stand, and then the action plan has to happen December. So whatever is the emotion that you're going to feel in the month of December, please keep something in mind that the story is not over. We still have exams to take. We still have stuff to go, right? So that's something that you have to keep telling yourself. I know that it might be for some of you, it might be a very challenging sort of to see the kind of results in the CAT, but I think that is very, very important to put things in perspective that you will still have work to do in December. Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next one, GD, a little bit about this for the
Yeah,
students
so
from you.
this is something that Sazeal and Gejo both have spoken about. Upload the response sheet once it's out, or go ahead and put in the estimates at this point in time. If you realize that you're scoring decently well, any score of above 70, 75, that means you have a good chance of getting calls from top B schools. Please go ahead and enroll in the PTP program. There is loads that you need to go ahead and do in terms of stage 2 as well. That in itself is a long, preparation module for you. You need to go back, look at your undergraduate courses, revise a lot. You need to go ahead and, like, Ravi likes to talk about it. The longer your life, the longer your syllabus for PTP, which means you need to go ahead and introspect a little, understand.
Just interjecting, let's say what PDP is. So PDP is Personal Development Program. It's a program that Career Launcher has for the VAT and PI preparation. So in fact, when Career Launcher started in 1995, it started with this program. The Career Launcher's genesis was with this particular program, and we have a program wherein we also have a program which is a personalized version of it, where you get attached to a particular mentor who will be with you and to create to help you through the whole process. And we have a normal sort of GDP prepare program without a personalized mentor as well. So irrespective of whether you take this program, not to this program, whether you take PDP personalized or whatever, the PI training has to be very, very crucial. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So
And
that's something that you could look at. And, like we've been talking about, CAT is over. You have a lot of other exams coming up. Some of you might have already written NMAT, or you might be going ahead and looking at that. So go ahead and look at NMAT, SNAP, ZAT. These are specific exams that you should be writing. Multiple top colleges under these exams, under NMAT. Nasimunji is a very well-known college, and it has multiple colleges under it. Nasimunji Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Indore, multiple such campuses. Similarly, under SNAP, there are multiple colleges, about 15, 17 courses, SIBM Pune, SCM HRD, SIBM Bangalore, SIIB, SIDTM, and so on and so forth. So multiple colleges there as well. SIOM. So you should look at these two exams very seriously. And generally, CAT is slightly more difficult than what we've seen this year. So your preparation mode actually, you'll be in a very good positive frame of mind with respect to the level of difficulty that you experienced in CAT. And NMAT and SNAP are going to be equally easy. So they're going to be exams where, speed is actually going to go ahead and matter a little. There'll be a few topics there which you might not have, prepared too well when it comes to CAT. For example, permutation, combination, probability. A lot of questions come from these two topics in NMAT and SNAP. Numbers, once again, a topic from where a lot of questions come in NMAT. So, you might need to brush up on certain topics there. Ensure you write adequate number of mocks. So we also have an online class program specifically for NMAT and SNAP, so you can have a look at that. And obviously then the second biggest MBA entrance examination in India, which is ZAT. XLRI, we've already spoken about. Gejo's already spoken about that. The exam will be on the 5th of January this year. So you've got a good 40 days to go for that. We've got a very specific course for that as well. 40 days, going down to the basics, revising everything, and then one entirely new section of decision making, how to approach that section and how to get deep into it. So loads coming your way. You still have an opportunity of ensuring that you can make a mark in this exam season in case CAT didn't go off as well as you hoped it would. Please make the most of the next 40 days. Take advantage of the courses that are in front of you. And if you feel it's gone off well, about time that you go ahead and kickstart your stage 2 preparation for GDPR through PDP. So these are courses that hopefully will go ahead and help you a little.
And going forward now at this juncture, don't fret, don't frown. Take a rest for a day and bounce back for the prep. So I think that's what you should do. And I feel we all feel you've been an awesome audience, and all the best for phase 2.
Gautam, any questions are there that you think we should take?
Mostly students, I think, going ahead and discussing sets, DILR sets, and what the answers would be specifically. Response sheet by when? We've answered that it will be expected anywhere between the next 3 to 7 days. So yeah, that's it. One last question, GP, probably you could pick up Rishu saying, cat se pehle bhi tension, cat ke baad bhi tension. To kare to kya kare?
टेंशन कैट नहीं देता, टेंशन लेना या ना लेना हमारी आदत होती है. Some of us are expert at taking tension, some of us are experts at not worrying about such minor issues.
और अगर ये आदत है तो ये कैट के बारे में नहीं है, वो इसके बाद भी रहेगी.
Absolutely.
जिंदगी में.
Yeah.
So
as soon as you get into B school, summers, placements, yeah, wo, as soon as you get I think it's a question of whether you want to take it or not. I mean, I think we are now duty bound, na. I think that the best thing to do is it's our duty now to prepare for other exams. I mean, we decided to prepare, get this process started. I think that it is our duty of care to ensure that it's our duty. It's like me going to college. It's my duty to go to college, go to office. It's duty to prepare. I think that make it very duty bound. Forget about tension and stuff, I would say.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Hope today went off well. All the best for CAT for your upcoming exams. And if you want to take a day off at max, take one. Gejo says don't do that either, but at max take one, and then please back to the rigmarole.
Gautam, just let them know that the last date for that is 30th January. This was November in the paper. They can still apply if they have not done so.
30th November, 5 days in hand. Please utilize it.
And when you apply to that, click all programs. Don't think. Click HR, click both campuses. And I will not do HR and all. It's like later. Like
at this point in time, just don't get into that. मेरे को BM नहीं करना है, HR नहीं करना, ये नहीं करना, वो नहीं करना. अभी सब करना है. Even call now. Once that is done, then we'll have discussions on कहाँ जाना है, नहीं जाना.
Call now, convert करो, उसके बाद सोचेंगे.
बस. Yeah. Cool. That's it.
Good note to end.
Good night.
Okay then. Good night.
Night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Good night.